Hey, everybody. Thank you for waiting around for me to get logged in. Hopefully, you are here with me as well. My name is Andrea Williams, and I work with Citywide Training and Development in the wonderful state of Ohio, right? Specifically, Columbus, Ohio. I'm glad that you have joined us today, whether somebody shared this link with you or you decided to come in and hang out with me and for your lunch. So grab your lunch. We're going to talk about balancing priorities today. And the gist of really our discussion is centered around how to successfully manage tasks, deadlines, and expectations. So let's keep that in mind as we move forward with our event today. Okay, so I've got 5 major things I want to talk with you about with regards to balancing priorities. 5 major things that I want to discuss. And again, welcome everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. In successfully managing tasks and deadlines and expectations, the 5 things that we're going to talk about today are setting relevant goals, 1, prioritizing activities and tasks, that's 2, 3, identifying work others could do, and 4, organizing yourself, and lastly, scheduling everything. So we've got a lot on our plate to talk about this next 30 minutes with you. And so thank you once again. If you have just joined me, make sure you pop into the comments and you say hello, because I would love to hear from you. All right, so let's get started with setting relevant goals. Here is my good measure to help all of my visual folks, because I'm a visual person, right? Set relevant goals, right? So that's our first element. And what I want to talk about with you is, in order to set the relevant goals, let's do it 2 ways. Let's think of it from a personal standpoint, and let's also think of it from a business standpoint. So from a personal standpoint, I'll talk about me, right? In setting relevant goals, I want to personally get maybe 4 more pairs of glasses, actual glasses that I can wear that match different outfits that I love, that says so much about me. Glasses are a wonderful accessory. So my personal goal is to get 4 more glasses and also appreciate what I've already got, right? My work goal, okay, here is to market a plan for technical change here at Citywide Training and Development, right? Market a plan for a technical change. So we'll use those 2 examples going forward, but certainly as we discuss in any of the things that we talk about today, you can think about it on a personal level and a business or workplace level. So once again, personal for me, glasses. Other side, work, is marketing a technical change within our organization. So we want to set a relevant goal, right? Let me give you a little bit more information about setting that relevant goal. What goals do is they help you decide what's important. They help you focus on what really needs to be done and avoid time-wasting activities. So with that in mind, let's unpack that a little bit with regards to setting a relevant goal. I just have one thing to say about that. A goal without a plan is a wish. I know, y'all didn't want me to say that, but a goal without a plan is a wish. And somebody said that previously, and it's now plastered on every meme, every business, corporate meme that you could think about, but it is true. A goal without a plan is just a wish. So when you think about setting your relevant goals, it's something that you need to really consider. Okay. Now, having said that, let me check the chat. Yes. Hey, Sherry Lynn. Good to see you. Glad you came on in today. Share the link with folks so they can join you. All right. So when you set the relevant goals, and I also like to say thank you very much to Miss Dreama Kirkling, who is my manager and business colleague, who is supporting the chat today as well. I'm going to take a look at the comments and the chat, but she's the one throwing in the extra information. So if you need any other details, she can help us out as well. So we've been talking about our priorities and how we're going to get all of this done, right? So personal and work, setting the relevant goals. That's the first thing. The second thing that you want to do is to prioritize your activities and your tasks. I had to look at it myself, right? Prioritize your activities and your tasks. So this means that you need to decide where to focus time, where to organize your activities, and tasks into their level of urgency and importance. So in terms of urgency and importance, it's an interesting thing to talk about, right? A lot of us think that all the stuff that we've got to accomplish and do that's on our plate sometimes has the same level of urgency. And it often feels like that. It often feels like the same level of urgency. But I promise you that honestly, they're not. A lot of the things that we are approaching to do are options based upon a lot of different criteria, based upon what your manager wants you to do, based upon what you yourself want to do, based upon some other stuff that you didn't know that you had in you that make you do things on autopilot, right? So all of this stuff, the way we were raised and how we study and how we do work, all of those things play into your prioritizing of your tasks and your activities. So there's a few things that I want you to think about when you prioritize your activities and tasks. So I want you to think about them: urgency and importance. And so if you would, take a piece of paper and a pen and jot down a quadrant like this. It just looks, that's a pretty sloppy quadrant in my book, but but it will get the job done, right? So with that, you want to put in your quadrant like high urgency. I'm just going to put high U, right? All right. And high importance. So you want to put high on this side and low on this side, and you want to fill in your quadrants. High urgency, high importance. This is what you're going to put in your quadrants. High urgency, high importance. You're going to put high urgency, low importance. I know this sounds like gobbledygook, but stay with me. Also low urgency, high importance. Low urgency, low importance. So when you come in at the beginning of the day, let's think about work. When you come in at the beginning of the day and you are faced with checking your email, a lot of times right then and there, those things have a high urgency, but some of the emails come in have a high urgency, a high importance, and a low importance. So you can prioritize which emails to do first. So that's an idea for you when you think about high urgency, high importance. That's like your manager sending you an email, high urgency, high importance. Your manager sending you an email to do something, so you're going to do that one right away. High urgency, low importance. Someone has sent you an email from your organization, but you recognize that you can get an answer to them later on in the day or tomorrow. That's high urgency, low importance, right? Low urgency, meaning I don't have to do it right now, and high importance, thinking about the email, I don't have to do it right now, but this project that we're working on, someone else needs that response right away. So it is your choice to move that around the quadrant. And then the last one is low urgency, low importance. It is the emails that you get from organizations that are talking to you about self-care that you deem important, but you don't necessarily need it to go about your daily activities, or at least in that day. So that would be a low urgency, low important email. So this is just an example of your emails. Now, if we think about when we prioritize our activities and tasks, and that's where we're at, right? Prioritizing activities and tasks. When we think about that, remember I said that I've got the personal goal with the glasses and the work. I'm trying to market a technical change for, it could be 8,000 people, right? So for the glasses, my priorities is that my glasses are a low urgency, low importance matter. I'm going to show you all of my glasses, right? This is some of them that I've gotten over the years, right? But I want to get more. Here's my collection. I want to get more. But those goals are low urgency, low importance, unless, of course, I find a really amazing sale and I have to get them now. Then the urgency will go up the ladder and go into a different quadrant, right? So, but with work, what we're looking at in terms of my technical change that I've got to market to these 8,000 employees, that right now is a low urgency, but it is highly important, right? Because this technical change switches up how people are going to do things. So people are going to freak out. So I got to prepare for the freak out, right? But really, that preparation time is happening right now. Need to do all of the legwork, but it's a low urgency because right now the change hasn't happened for these employees, but it will happen, right? And I'm going to flip the switch at some point. But in the meantime, low urgency, high importance. And so think about some of the things that you do from a personal aspect all the way to a business aspect, which would fit into these quadrants, right? Think about those elements. All right, so we've got some good comments in the section here with regards to thank you, Dreamer, for entering the information that we need, right? And let's move on with our mission of understanding that we've got, whoopsies, I'm just trying to stay on track, right? Understanding that our second element is the prioritizing activities and tasks, right? And now let's move on to our third element. Our third element is to identify work with others. Identify work that others could do. Listen, two things. We're talking about, for my examples, we're talking about the glasses, right, and wanting to get more. Now, from a personal aspect, identifying work that others could do, somebody else is going to make these glasses, right? But maybe I have to put in a little work. So for example, my prescription has changed, but I want to keep the frames. So the work that I've got to do is at least provide the old pair to my ophthalmologist and the folks who are going to create the new frame, the new inserts, and then they create it. That is work that others could do, right? And when I think about this marketing plan with the technical aspects for work, there are certainly 4 people I need to reach out to who will be able to help me with this marketing plan, right? Who will be able to help me with the technical aspect of the stuff, and also maybe bringing some other colleagues into the discussion so that they can make sure that they feel like they're a part of the process, because I don't want to leave them out. So we're going to identify work that others can do. There's a few things I want to share with you that is more oriented towards what you need to do. Just let me give you a definition. So to delegate successfully, and that's really what we're talking about. We're talking about delegating. You want to choose the right person. You want to communicate clearly. You have to remain available for that conversation to happen whenever that may be, opening up your schedule or anything like that, right? You want to also avoid any type of micromanaging. Did you do it? Did you do it? How about now? Did you do it now? How about now? Right? You want to avoid that. Check in occasionally with the person that you've kind of brought onto your team, whether it may be a personal or a work related. Now, when we're saying check in occasionally, from a personal aspect, a lot of the things that I'm talking about, my glasses, are just automatic, right? And it's gonna happen. But if you're asking someone to do something for you, you haven't heard from them in a while, it's good to check in and say, hey, can I help you with anything? Can I answer any questions? I just want to touch base with you and let you know I thank you very much for your help, or whatever the case may be, right? And that also works from a business standpoint. You can use the same thing, personal and business, when it comes to checking in occasionally with somebody. And then also, you want to create a delegating plan. And a lot of times folks have this delegating plan of who are they going to get to help them out inside of their heads, right? So my suggestion would be to write out, just in general, who you want to talk to. And there are some wonderful kind of project charts that are out there that you could use. You could just go into Dr. Google, Dr. Bing, whatever search engine that you use, Safari, and ask, please provide me some project charts, project management charts, or to-do charts. And you'll see that there are different types of columns for activities, including like who to talk to, who's supposed to do this, and when it's supposed to get done by, all of that good stuff. So we have been talking about identifying work that others could do. When you identify this work that others could do, you need some sort of engagement of a project management or a plan or something like that, right? So think about your personal goals and your work goals and how you will apply what we're discussing today with balancing your priorities. So thus far, we've talked about setting relevant goals. We have talked about prioritizing tasks and activities. We have also talked about identifying work others could do, right? Next, let's move on to, literally, y'all, this is the biggest thing for me sometimes. It's tied with the last thing we'll talk about. So the next thing is organizing yourself. Okay, that's sometimes a lot, right? Because now let's keep in mind, you got to, in my example that I'm sharing with you, it's organizing your personal stuff and organizing your work stuff. So let's start with personal. When it comes to organizing yourself, keep what you need close at hand. Here's some ideas for you. Keep what you need close at hand. So for the glasses, I would keep those glasses in a central location where I can find them, get them, and send them to the manufacturer, send them back to the company so that they can put my updated prescription in my frames, right? Let's look at the work side of things with this marketing plan that I've got to send out, right? Or develop, right? And so the work plan organization is keep what you need close at hand. And that would mean that I need data. I need data. I need some ideas. Just the other day, I got an email from an organization that said, hey, we're changing the way we do things. It was a fantastic email. And I thought, I could use some of the things that they say in here from this email in the email I need to market to our 8,000 employees. So those are things that you need to keep at hand. So save that email, right? So that's just one of the elements that you need to do when it comes to organizing yourself. You'll want to keep what you need close at hand. You will want to name files so that they're easy to retrieve. And this is that organization that we're talking about. If you're going to be working on a project, let's make the folders first, right? Let's make the digital folders. Let's decide how. Let me start with 5 digital folders. The first in the digital folder is going to be contacts for this project. The second digital folder would be the content of the marketing. The third digital folder would be reports, right? But in general, all of your folders would be there in one location and ready for you to fill, right? Whether they're digital or paper-based, right? So you want to name your files as they're easy, so that they're easy to retrieve. Now, trust and believe, I forget where things are all the time, and my brain works in such a way that I have to sometimes go through the same process over and over again just to realize that, oh, that's where I put that file, right? So don't do that. Try to just develop all your stuff ahead of time per project, right? Also, sort your email into folders. Those are helpful. Right now, I'm getting a lot of emails for an annual ethics assignment that was sent out in June. And so all of those emails I like to keep in the ethics folder so that I can go find them and refer to them as need be, right? Also, handle email and documents only once. That's a nice thing to do, to handle the emails and documents only once. We know that you're going to go through things and have to look them up. So hopefully you will only have to handle them once, if not more than once, right? Okay. Archive what's no longer current. All right, archive what's no longer current. So if you want to keep these emails or if you want to keep these folders, right, Archive the things you don't need to look at a daily basis. So, for example, it shouldn't be automatically available to you digitally. It should not be sitting on your desk, just taking up space. No. So archiving means to put them away if you're keeping them and send them somewhere down the road, right? And then lastly, schedule time to maintain your organization. What does that mean? That means that you put a reoccurring event in your calendar that allows you to get an alert that says, hey, this is an alert to remind you to keep your desk clean, right? This is an alert to remind you to organize all of the files and making sure that you're doing it on a weekly basis so that when you come back to them, you have what you need, right? So keep that in mind. Let me take a look at the comments. So we're doing good. Looks like we've got some good comments in here. Thank you. Yes. Organizing right now is all, yes, it is the thing. Files and papers are all over the place. Home is better. That is nice that you've got the distinction between the personal and the professional side. I tend to keep my professional side of things more clean and more organized because in my head, I'm being paid to kind of do this, right? But when I'm at home, oh yeah, I could just leave all my receipts over there, right? It's an issue, y'all. I'm dealing with it just like y'all are dealing with things, but we keep going on. And that's why we're having the conversation about organizing and scheduling. So that's our next part of our conversation. So we've just talked about organizing yourself. Organize yourself, and you can add 5 more things to this list in order to organize yourself, right? So we've just talked about that. Now we're going to finish up our discussion with scheduling everything. Listen, I never thought that scheduling everything would give me the feels, but it does. And I really have to. If I don't schedule it, it doesn't happen in my world, right? So once you have the ability to schedule, right? It is just going to open up doors of availability for you, and you'll know what you need to do when. But let me give you some pointers about scheduling everything. Put it in writing, right? Get it out of your head, right? Because that's how we really live things. We get those things out of our head. So put it in writing or typing, either way will work, right? And then some other tips are include everything you need to do. So let's look at this from a personal standpoint and a work standpoint. A personal standpoint, everything I need to do with regards to all of the subject matter we've talked about before, all the tips, they're in my calendar. Personal side, yes, I had dinner with a friend and her mom yesterday. I put that in the calendar, right? I'm about to embark upon my MBA. I put that in the calendar. It's personal, but it's also business, right? I put that in the calendar. I put when I'm going to go home and visit my mama in the calendar, right? I put everything in the calendar. Now, there are some exclusions you can make about some other personal things about that. But it just depends on what kind of person you are, right? So put it in the calendar, right? And write it down. Include everything that you need to do. Also, schedule your activities of high concentration at times you are most alert, right? So let's think about that. I'm asking you the question, when are you most alert when it comes to daily activities? When are you most alert when it comes to daily activities? That's the question. Is it morning, afternoon, evening? By now, we should have some inkling of how we work and what hours are best for us. You know, personal-wise, I work better in the afternoon. Work-wise, I work better in the mornings, morning to lunchtime, right? And I can get a lot more achieved during that time frame than otherwise. So that's something to keep in mind when you're most alert. A few other tips, and then we will need to end our time together. So a few other tips include time for routine tasks. So routine tasks like like checking your email, include that time, right? Include time for your lunch breaks. And in fact, you could put your lunch break in there. Include time for a break that you should take. And give yourself the alert, because a lot of us sometimes work through those breaks and those lunch hours, and we need that alert to remind us to stop what we're doing to balance our lives out. Remember, we're balancing priorities. Okay? A few other tips. Include time, allow contingency time for things unexpected. And the big secret here, folks, is do not schedule more than 60% of your day. Listen to me. Do not schedule more than 60%. So that means that 40% of your 8-hour work day or 12-hour personal day should be left to things that are going to pop up, or things that you might want to get engaged in that you didn't have on your plate before the day began, right? So continue to have a contingency plan, allow a contingency plan, and include time for planning and reflecting. And we, of course, want you to be realistic with your time. And once you start putting it in a calendar and scheduling everything, you'll see you don't have time, or you do have time. Or you can tell people, I can sandwich you in, but it has to be a virtual call. I can't come visit you. Little things like that will be necessary decisions to make once you can see everything on your calendar. So just be realistic and review and revise regularly whenever things change for you. Now, there are some other things that I can share with you with regards to how to do this. Now, you've got some good information going forward. Sherry, we know you're more productive in the morning, so take this information along with some of the tips. We have talked about setting your relevant goals, right? We've talked about setting your relevant goals. We have talked about prioritizing your tasks and activities, right? We have talked about identifying work others could do. We've also talked about organizing yourself and scheduling everything, right? So if you follow those simple steps, you'll be well on your track to balancing your priorities. If you have any interest in doing this whole program with us, we can offer you a 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour, or more course of balancing priorities. Please give us a call or give us a holler. Our email address is ctd@columbus.gov. That's C as in cat, T as in Tom, D as in David, ctd@columbus.gov. Reach out to us, or certainly you can give us a call and we'll schedule something for you. Now, if you're an employee, like Sherry, thanks, you can reach out to us and we'll schedule something and we'll work with you and your timing to bring something to your department. If you are external customer, then we of course will work with your schedule as well to provide our high level of expert training and expertise to your front door. So I've been Andrea Williams with Citywide Training and Development. Thank you so much for chiming in today's session, and we look forward to seeing you at our next live event. And keep a look on our channel and subscribe so that you'll know when we're going to come up next. Thanks so much for your time, and thank you so much to my fellow employees who came in to join. We appreciate you, Sherry. All right, y'all. I'll be looking forward to hearing from you soon. Take care and be well.